Okay, gonna do a little bit on Fox. The guy that you see in the middle of the eye candy, and it is eye candy, no ifs, ands, or buts, is Jason Chaffetz. He is the head of the Ways and Means Committee in the House of Representatives. And every time I saw this guy, I always really wondered what nationality this guy was. As dark as he is, he's like a dark Italian. So I did a little research, looked him up, and found out that his heritage is Jewish, though he converted to Mormonism his senior year of college. And he also was a Democrat, and he changed parties after meeting Ronald Reagan. So anyway, that's just a little information for you. But like I said, I looked at how dark this guy was for a white guy, and I knew he had to have something else floating around. So I'm assuming that his dad wasn't a European Jew, that his dad was probably a Jew with heritage coming out of the Middle East, as dark as that guy is. Anyway, on to the main topic of discussion. Fox jumped on the bandwagon with everybody else on this Trump situation, and you're going to have a couple of people up there, well, basically everybody up there that's going to get on him, and also get on Paul Ryan. Jason Chaffetz does not violate the rule of the Republican Party. It might be one of the number one rules. Actually, I think it's the number two rule. The number one rule, which Trump violated left and right, is thou shalt not speak ill of another Republican. That's their number one rule. But their number two rule is thou shalt not mention the word racism in any conversation that you have, and you will not acknowledge any racism within our party. Okay, here's the clip from Fox, and you can decide for yourself whether Jason Chaffetz basically is pulling a Mitch McConnell by not acknowledging the racist statements of Donald Trump.
Later, we'll be back. This is numbered. Of course, Donald Trump refusing to back down amid the backlash over his criticism of the judge of Mexican heritage who's handling the Trump University lawsuit. Trump claims Judge Gonzalo Curiel is not treating him fairly because he wants to build a wall on the U.S.-Mexico border. He also stepped things up when asked if a Muslim judge could be fair due to his call to temporarily ban Muslim refugees and tourists. Watch.
If it were a Muslim judge, would you also feel like they wouldn't be able to treat you fairly because of that policy of yours?
It's possible, yes. Yeah, that would be possible, absolutely.
Wow, meantime, a growing number of Republicans slamming Trump for his criticism of the judge.
The comment about the judge the other day just was out of left field from my mind. It's reasoning I don't relate to. I completely disagree with the thinking behind that.
I don't agree with what he had to say. This is a man who was born in Indiana. All of us came here from somewhere else.
This is one of the worst mistakes Trump has made, and I think it's inexcusable. This judge was born in Indiana. He is an American, period.
I was born in Indiana, too. But earlier today, Trump firing back during a phone interview on Fox and Friends, where he was also asked about Newt Gingrich's remarks.
It shouldn't even be a case. This case should have been thrown out on summary judgment. And if somebody else would have, this would have been thrown out on summary judgment. As far as Newt is concerned, I saw Newt. I was surprised at Newt. I thought it was inappropriate what he said. All I'm trying to do is figure out why I'm being treated so unfairly by a judge. And a lot of people agree with him.
All right, did Newt just get himself booted off the VP list? What do you think, Congressman?
You can disagree with somebody in their political affiliation and question that.
Was it too close to home? Was it racist?
Well, the idea that you're going to attack somebody based on their heritage, that you're not going to get a fair ruling, that I don't think that resonates. I don't believe in it, and I think it's wrong of him to have said it.
Notice he didn't answer the question, was it racist?
He does tell it the way he sees it.
Yeah.
I happen to disagree with that. I don't think it's going to win him any points in the court or with the judge. And I think he could have dismissed it simply by saying, you know what, the case is being adjudicated, it's in the courts, I'm going to leave it to my attorneys. And moved on, and then we wouldn't be in day 3 talking about this.
All right, are you at all surprised that he's not dialing back or apologizing?
I'm not surprised. I'm surprised at Paul Ryan saying this came out of left field. Out of left field, this is a guy that's been throwing racist code words, not even code words, but saying things that I think are racist.
Do you think this is the most overt thing that he's
You know, I don't know. I mean, saying that you're going to ban 1.6 million Muslims from coming here simply because of their religion, that's pretty bad. I mean, you know, that's why I'm surprised at Paul Ryan, where he can't, oh, woe is me, where is this possibly coming from? This is a guy who's been a birther since 2008, 2010, and all of a sudden, the Speaker of the House, who just endorsed him, seems to be shocked that gambling's going on here. I mean, this is like the Captain Renault of the House. I don't understand where he's coming from.
Well, it almost seems like there's a little bit of betrayal on the right, that people like Newt Gingrich, who came forward and gave such a forceful defense of Donald Trump, and also appeared on that short list of possible VP candidates, you know, they're all kind of up in arms.
So one thing I would say that's a little bit different from my experience in covering candidates is normally your surrogates or those people who've endorsed you would check with you first before they would make a statement like that. Particularly if you know you're on the short list as a VP pick. So I would say that got a little dicey among these men. But I also want to point to a couple of facts. So the judge is of Mexican heritage. He was born in America. Judge Napolitano pointed out this morning people are criticizing him, as Donald Trump has, for belonging to a group called La Raza. Napolitano says no. The key word there is was. He used to be a member or a supporter or whatever it was. He said as a sitting justice, he can't belong to any advocacy group.
Yeah.
My question for Donald Trump is, if you take out Curiel based on his heritage, would you have taken out Thurgood Marshall, our first African-American sitting Supreme Court justice during the civil rights conversations and cases? And furthermore, would you take out Clarence Thomas? I mean, it bears the question.
Where does it end?
Yeah, where does it end?
Congressman, in Newt Gingrich's comments when he called Donald Trump's words inexcusable, one of the worst mistakes Trump has ever made, he also said Trump's got to move to a new level. This was in the same interview, and he said this is no longer the primaries. He's no longer an interesting contender. He's now the potential leader of the United States. Do you believe that as he moves into the general, out of the primary, he's got to change? That he's been asked a million times by other Republicans, change the rhetoric, change the tone. Do you believe he needs to do that?
Well, I think Newt Gingrich's assessment was spot on. I do happen to agree with that. You know, who am I to say, hey, the guy has to change? I want there to be that authenticity as we go into an election. I want the person to be who they are rather than they're so handled and manipulated. That candidate is Hillary Clinton. If you want to see somebody who's totally scripted all the time, you go and vote for Hillary Clinton. If you want somebody who's just going to tell it like it is and the way they see it, that's what I think is endearing about Donald Trump, even though I disagree with several of his statements.
Are you comfortable with who he is? I mean, you're saying you want him to be like he is. I mean, are you comfortable with this kind of rhetoric? I can't imagine that most well-meaning Republicans are comfortable with this kind of rhetoric against a sitting judge based on his ethnicity.
I can disagree with him on policy and on principles. I disagree with the statements that he made there. But do I think he would be a much better candidate and much better president than Hillary Clinton? You betcha. All day.
So basically, Jason Chaffetz is saying a racist, a misogynist, an Islamophobe would be a better president than Hillary Clinton. Give me a flippin' break.
Long, I'd take that, yes.
I wonder if these Republicans, though, will step up and start to handle him a little bit more and let him know when they're going to make these statements, too, because that's also disrespectful.
But, and these are mistakes that he doesn't have to make at this point. You know, he's watching Hillary Clinton being attacked on both fronts from Republicans and Bernie Sanders, and he doesn't have to subject himself to the same thing where Hillary Clinton is using those comments in campaign ads, and you've also got leadership in the House and Senate doing the same thing. So he's getting the sort of blowback that he doesn't need. All right, the fire.
All right, so my point or my question is this. I'm not a Hillary Clinton supporter, but that being said, she does not hold to positions. Some on the right would say she's a liar, you know, she's a crook, various other things. What nobody on the right is saying is that she's a racist and an Islamophobe and a out and out feminist. Though I think she's kind of in that feminist camp, but not out and out. So you got a choice, okay, if these two basically run up against each other. Do you feel comfortable having a racist Islamophobe as president of the United States and supposedly representing all the people, which by definition, a racist is not going to represent the group that he's racist against, either Hispanics, Mexicans in this case, blacks, and any other non-quote-unquote white Caucasian ethnic group? Or do you want a person that you believe lies and manipulates a situation and is a crook, quote unquote? And I'm not saying she is, but that's what a bunch of people on the right have an opinion about. But the one thing that you could say about her is, if she's lying to everybody. If she's a crook, she's stealing from everybody. So she's equal opportunity, if you believe that line of reasoning. Donald Trump basically is saying that if he becomes president, he obviously will disqualify all people that have Hispanic heritage from consideration for a Supreme Court position, and he would do the same as far as any person who has an Islamic background. Constitution says you can't do that, but Donald Trump, though he's a birther, doesn't believe in all of the principles of birtherism, because one of the main principles of birtherism is returning the country to a more constitutional basis than it, quote unquote, currently is at. Another violation by Donald Trump, and all the Republicans that are in support of Trump, they have to own his racism and acknowledge that they accept it.